Hi, everybody, and welcome so much. I appreciate you being here. This is the first video that I'm doing particularly for Michael's Makers. And the plan is to start in the beginning and build up, and hopefully, you grow with me. You just heard my dog bark. Yes, I have two little ones, and they're often, you can hear them in the background when I do my tutorials because this is my studio. My right, I have large windows that look to the yard slash street. A little further down, they can see the street. And the neighbors are out there playing right now with their little dogs, so my dog's acting out. They're part of the family, they're part of the deal. Hopefully, you won't mind too much. They're not big barkers. Anyway, let's start. So, to start, I want to do a tutorial that help you learn the basics in making a mini album and doing something simple and fast that anybody can do. You really don't need any previous knowledge, you don't need any talents, and you really don't need a lot of supplies. So it's a really fun way to create something. You can do the same thing in different patterns and get a different thing every time. And also wonderful if you need to give somebody a gift, like a spur of a moment or Christmas, if you have to make a whole bunch together. It's a really, really fun thing to do. Okay, so we're gonna start. Um, we're learning the different folds and different how we call all these things. I'm gonna be using this pattern paper today. It's an antique shop. It's really, really beautiful. It has beautiful patterns. So we'll be using that. But again, you can use any pattern paper that you have at home that you can get. You will need probably 3 or 4 sheets of the 12 by 12. What else will you need? You're going to need basic black cardstock. This is our recollection 110 pounds. The 110 means that it's heavy. You know, when you put certain amount of paper together, it reaches 110 pounds. That's why they call it 110 pounds. It's also 300 GSM, which is really, really heavy. You don't have to have that. You can also use a little lighter cardstock that is about 80 pounds. You can use 80, 90. I wouldn't use anything less than that. There's also 65, which is pretty good, but for album making, I think it's a little too light. So you need a few of those. Depend on your pattern. You can choose a coordinating color: black, white, cream, craft color, or more something more fun, maybe red, maybe green. I think Michaels have them in a lot of different colors. They also have packs that are a combination of different colors. Okay. So what we're looking for in the cardstock, except, in addition to the fact that we want it heavy, we want it to be colored core, which means it doesn't have white in the middle. If you happen to have one that does have white core, you can always get a marker and color it. But my go-to is a colored core cardstock. Okay, what else will you need? You're going to need some glue. For album making, there are two main kinds. One is the double side tape, which is a tape that have one sticky side and then you peel the other side and it sticks both ways. And the other one is just regular white PVA glue. There are all kinds on the market. You can see my bottle is all worn out already. It's a glue that you don't need to use a lot of for it to work well. It lasts for a long time, so it doesn't disintegrate over time. And also, I said it dries quickly. What else did I say? Oh, it doesn't make the paper wave. You know, it doesn't have too much moisture in it. The more moisture in glue, the more you'll see your paper wave. So if you are using a liquid glue, you want to use just a little bit of it. Okay. You want embossing tools. This is a bone tool. You use that to score your paper so that it will fold nicely. You can use a bone folding tool or an embossing tool. The embossing tool has a little, let me see if I can show you. Let me maybe put it this way here. It has a little ball at the end, you see. So that also works. Personal favorite of mine, it's not necessary, but I do recommend to keep ink when you work with paper, because you like to color the edges, like I mentioned the core in the colored cardstock before. The regular patterned paper will also have white core that you want to cover. That and a dauber, which is a way to take your ink and apply it onto the patterned paper. Of course, you always need scissors, ruler, pencil, that kind of thing. Your first tool that you should invest in when you're doing paper craft is a good paper trimmer. I have a whole bunch of them. Um, we can go into it another time. My Creative Memories paper trimmer is wonderful. I have big ones that when I'm making kits. But for my tutorials, when I do videos, I use this one. It's a We Are Memory Keepers paper trimmer. It's not expensive, and it has a scored board built in. So it's 2-in-1. You trim the paper and then you can score it. So I like that option. Okay, I'm going to take myself out of the screen. So I'm going to become this little, and I'm going to put the head camera as a main focus so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's go here and here. And you can see it now, right? Yes. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to do a little mini album. It's going to be about 6 inches long, maybe 4¼ inches wide. We're going to start with one side, and then we're going to turn it over and do it on the other side. So it's going to be double-sided, which is a lot of fun. So this little mini album will have a base. And my base, I said it's going to be 4¼ by 6 by 6. We want to do 6¼ maybe. Let's do 6¼ We're going to do 4¼ Let's do 6¼ Okay. So 6¼ I cut it along the 11-inch side of the cardstock. So I have this piece left over, and I can use it for something else. Then I'm turning it over to the 8½-inch side. I can cut it right in the middle at 4¼ and it'll give me 2 pieces that are equal in size. Right? Okay. So now I can take this and I can use it for something, and I can take this and use it for something else. So let's take the piece that I have left over here, and I'm going to create what I call a top flap. A top flap is a piece that will go on the top of my base, and it will flap up. Okay. So if I'm doing the top flap, I want the width of it to be exactly the same as my base, which is 4¼ So let's cut this here. Let's take this. Cut this to 4¼ No, I'll take this one. I'll make it a little shorter. It's okay. 4¼ It already is 4¼ What am I saying? Okay, it's already 4¼ And I'm going to score the top part. So I'm going to turn it over so that the 6-inch line is on the top of my scoreboard, I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to press on the line where it says a 1/2 inch. And I want to bring it closer so that you can see. See, I have engraved lines in here that I can press my paper against, and it will make an indent in the paper, you see? So you want to make sure that it goes all the way to the edge here. And you press it down and it will create a line. Try to just make you see. Here we go. You see it? So here where you pressed against, it goes inwards. So you have like a little groove there. It's called a groove. When you turn it over, this side is a little raised. That's called a mount. So this is your mount here. Here we go. Now we can see it well. This is your mount. And the groove, we also call it a valley, either a groove or a valley, because a valley goes down and a mount goes up. Okay. When I say score, usually in the craft, in the mini album crafting tutorials, when they'll say score, usually it's a 1/2 inch. It's usually the 1/2 inch. Rarely you'll see less than that. Sometimes you'll see more than that. Sometimes you'll see 3/4 of an inch score line or a 1-inch score line. Sometimes you'll see a double score line, which is 2 lines next to each other. But regular standard is a 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to fold it, and you're going to take your bone folding tool and you're going to press it down and you're going to burnish it like that so that it will sit nicely and flat. If you want it even to sit better, you can fold it on the other side, give it a squeeze, and then go again. So now it will be even, it will move even easier. So that's your top flap, and we can go ahead and put it on the top part of our base. You can use a double side tape or you can use glue. I'm going to show you both ways. To put a double side tape, hold your tape down. Make sure it's down. Then you can either tear it, depends. Some score tapes can tear easy. If it doesn't, just use the scissors and cut it. Go back and burnish that again because you want to remove any possible air pockets in there so that it will not lift over time. More often than not, we use our nails to remove the back, or you can use a little pick tool if you have it. If you don't, you can use a little pin. If you have anything that's, just pointy and sharp to help you pick it up. Again, it's not a tool that's necessary for this stage. We're just at the beginning stages. Okay. And then we're going to apply it to the top part. And I'll show you another way to put it on, but this is basically what you get. You get a top flap. Okay, now we're going to do 2 side flaps. I'm going to do a right side flap and a left side flap. So if I want to put it on the left, I want the width of it to be like the base, maybe a little less. So it's 6 1/4 inches, right? So we want it to be, maybe we'll do a 6 1/8. We're going to take out just a smidgen. I just don't want it to be all the way to the folding line. I want to leave just a little bit of room there. You see, there's just a little teeny bit of room here. Okay. And I'm going to score it a 1/2 inch on one side. And fold. And this will go on the right side, right there. Okay. Now let me show you another way to apply the wing. I call this the wing or hinge. I'm going to turn it over to the side where the mount is on the top. I'm going to put the double side tape on there. This is just a little piece of plastic that I use to hold the paper down when I cut it. I always get this question, what is that red tool? It's actually just a glue spreader that I've had for a long time. Just a piece of plastic. Okay, so here's my tape. You see that it's pointed down and the mount is up. Okay, and this needs to be attached to the right side so that it will flap to the right. Now here's an easy way to make sure that you're putting it correctly and straight. So you don't remove the whole tape, you just remove a part of it, just like that. And you start on the opposite side, which is the bottom, because the bottom is not going to get stuck yet. It still has that cover. And then you slowly put it there, make sure it's straight. And when you're happy with it, then you press it down. Now I didn't remove the whole thing yet, right? It's still hanging there, but it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay straight. Now I can hold it and guide it and take out the tape. And it's perfectly straight. So now we have a top flap and we have a right flap. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm going to add a left flap to this thing. So the left flap, I want it to be exactly the same size as this. Let me take another sheet here and I'm going to cut it at, remember we did I put it here on the 6 1/4, and then what I do is I just move it slightly to the right, maybe 1/16 of an inch. And I'm going to cut it at 4 3/4. 4 3/4. And I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Why 4 3/4? Because 4 3/4 plus 4 1/4 plus the half that I'm using for the hinge gives me a 4 1/4, which is exactly the width of my base. So I added a 1/2 inch to the 4 1/4 for the hinge. And I'm going to apply it to the left side, right there. Let's do another way of applying it, and this time I'm going to use the regular glue. Okay. And remember, I don't need a lot. I just need a little bit. And the regular glue gives me a little bit more wriggling room. You see, right now I put it down and I have a few seconds where I can play with it and I can move it around. By the time I do this, it's already on there. and it's not going anywhere. If you try to take it out now, it'll rip the paper. But it does give you a few minutes there. Okay. And a favorite among a lot of beginners is to actually use both. They put the tape down and then they apply some glue. The tape gives you strength and it makes sure that it stays there right away. And the glue gives you that wiggle room. Okay. Okay, so if you're a beginner and you've never done this before, I recommend to start with a regular glue and then slowly graduate to the double-sided tape. So now we have these. And we can do something on the inside. So I think on the inside, I'm going to do here maybe um, I think what I want to do here. I think I'm going to create a pocket here. And I'm going to create a belly band here. So let's do a pocket, a belly band, and maybe we'll do a flat pocket. It's three basic things that we can do. Okay, so pocket, the width of a pocket is, if we want to do it from one side to the other, has to be the size of the sides plus ½ inch on either side. So I have 4 inches, right? My base is 4 inches. I want to add ½ inch on the left, a ½ inch on the right. That's 1 inch. So it should be at least the width of 5¼ inches. And the height is whatever the height you want your base to be, plus a ½ inch. So maybe we'll make it 2½ plus 1 is 3 times 5½. 5¼ 5¼ yes. So I cut my piece at 5¼ by 3. And because I want my pocket to sit this way, I'm going to have this side open here. Now let me grab a piece of lighter so you can see it here. All right. So if I want my pocket to be here, I want it to be this side stays open. This will be closed, this will be closed, and this will be closed. Okay. So I'm going to score ½ inch here, ½ inch here, and a ½ inch here. I should have done this with a lighter color cardstock maybe. Okay. So we'll do ½ inch here. So I scored ½ inch here at 4 3/4 here. I'm going to turn it over. So on the 3-inch side, I'm going to score along the 3-inch side ½ inch. And let me show you what I did. So you can see the score line here, a score line here, and a score line here. Now I'm going to cut a triangle over here where the 2 score lines meet, right there. So take your scissors. Take the 2 triangles out. And we're going to fold all of 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you see it? Here we go. And my hinges. So once they're folded in, I'm going to glue the 3 sides and I'm going to attach the pocket to the base. So I'm gluing those 3 hinges here. and I'm going to attach it to the base where the opening is on the top. What you want to make sure is that it doesn't go all the way to where you're folding your paper. Usually when you fold the lines, it loses a little bit. So make sure you don't cut it too wide. So here I have, you see the little pocket? I have a little pocket here. You take a little piece of paper. You can put something here, like a little pocket. It's cute. Okay, now we can create a little belly band there. So a belly band is a line that goes from the top to the bottom, and you can tuck things inside, but it will go through to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to do a belly band that's 2 inches. It's 2 inches wide, and I'm going to cut it at 7 1/4 because I'm going to have it folded both on the top and on the bottom. So I'm going to score 1/2 inch on the right and a 1/2 inch here, and here at 6 3/4. It's scored again, 1/2 inch on the left. 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. And I'm going to fold it here, and I'm going to fold it here. So I have 2 folds. And then I'm going to put it right at the center, like this, right there. Oh, I have 2 bottles here. I don't know which one is open. And you can eyeball it, or you can measure it, make sure that it's in the center and you like where you placed it. Okay. And over here, I don't know what I want to do here. Maybe I said we'll do a little tuck pocket, right? So how about I'll just take my remnant that I have here. You can cut it if you want to make it interesting. You can make, little something. But right now I'm just going to cut a diagonal out. And I'm going to do what's called a flat pocket. And a flat pocket, I don't have any lines that are folded in the pocket. No lines are folded. I'm going to just glue it on this side and on this side and add it to the paper underneath. So I don't need a lot, and I'm not gluing the whole part, just a line around, and I'm adding it right here to the edge of my right flap. In 2 seconds, it's going to be dry. And what happens now is I have a little pocket that I can just tuck something here. Okay, I can just stick it here and it'll stay. And that's my tuck pocket. Okay, so we did the top flap, a left flap, a right flap, a pocket, a belly band, and a flat pocket. Over here, this is the back side of my album. I'm not going to do anything here yet. But what I might do is I might do something so that we can have a placement here for a photo. Okay. So this is how it closes. I'm just going to put it here, put it down, make sure it's nice and flat. And this is the one part. I can turn it around and I can do something on the back. And how about on the back? We're going to do a bottom flap, and we're going to do a couple of what we call a waterfall. Okay. Okay. So at the top, my bottom flap for the other side is actually going to be no, you know what? I don't want to do a bottom flap. A bottom flap is the same as the top flap. You just put it on the bottom. I don't want to do that. I want to do a waterfall here. Okay? And a couple of flaps. Okay. So for my couple of flaps, it's going to be 4 3/4. 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to cut it at 6 1/4. I'm going to turn it over and do 4 3/4 and 4 3/4. I'm going to score it on the 4 3/4 side here, and again at the 4 3/4 side. All right, now I want to show you real quick how I do a double score, because a lot of times in my mini albums, I double score my flaps. And the reason I do it is because if I have something that's heavy underneath and I want, it's going to become bulky, I still want the top part to be flat on it. So I did one score line, but I'm going to score another one right next to it. So I have 2 of them here, you see? I have 2 of them. And now what I reached is a fold line that is a little thicker. So you can see the little square line here. It's not flat. It has an 1/8 of an inch return on it. So everything underneath here that this will sit on top will be flatter. I can go ahead and do the other one just so that it's even. So this one also is scored at a 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. There's an 1/8 of an inch between the 2 score lines. And go ahead and press it down. And here we go. So I cut them the same as I did the other one, but because I scored a little more when I will lay it here on top of the base, it's going to miss an 1/8 of an inch on each side, which is fine. It doesn't make a big difference. I'm going to put this on the right. I'm going to put this one on the left. I have the wiggle room that I can move. I don't think I put enough glue on there. It's just doesn't want to stay. Let's just leave it here for a second to dry. So with this particular glue, you see I have a little bit of white showing. It doesn't concern me because when this glue is dry, it dries clear. So you will not be able to see it. Plus, I'm going to cover it with pattern paper anyway. So you're really not going to see it. Okay, so this one, the top flap goes. I have top flap here. So I'm going to have three flaps in the middle, one on top of the other, and that's called a waterfall. A waterfall is when you have top flaps or side flaps or bottom flaps, all kinds of flaps. It doesn't matter. If it goes on top of the other, it goes down as a waterfall, like one after the other to the other. But usually they're the same size, but placed within distance of each other. I'm only going to do 3 because this is a small album and I don't want to do too many here. I guess you can also do 5 if you like. I don't see a reason why not. But for now, I'm just going to do 3. And for the flaps, I'm actually going to use the thinner paper, the one that's 80 pounds. So I want the width to be 4 inches. Okay, the base is 4 1/4, but I don't want it to be all the way to the edge. I want it a little bit less. So I'm going to make it 4. And I want the height to be, how about the height will be 5? We'll make the height at 5. So this is 5. Oh, no, I should have made it 5 1/2. I forgot about the, I wanted to add it 5, but I forgot to take into account the hinge. So we wanted 5 1/2 by 4. 5 1/2. So I cut the paper in 2, 5 1/2 and 5 1/2. And then I'm going to do 4 and 4. Right, so we want 3 pieces that are 4 inches by 5 1/2. And now we can score 1/2 inch. And after I score the 1/2 inch, I have 4 by 5. So we're going to score 1/2 inch. And the second one and the third one. I'm going to fold them. So now I have 3 flaps that are all equal. And they will be sitting right on top of each other, within 1/2 inch of each other, just like that. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. So now I want to put it on top of my, this is this side. I'm going to put it here. Check to see which is your right side. And this is the top side because the top flap is shorter than the bottom. So this is my top. If you're not sure, you can always take a pencil. You can write top. Okay, that's your top, where the top flap is a little shorter. So I'm going to turn it over. And I know that this is my top now. I'm going to take the first piece and I want to center it and put it right at the bottom part. Put it at the bottom, and I want to center it so it's equal and even on both sides. So it looks like a top flap, but it sort of starts in the middle right here. Okay. This one, I'm going to put about a 1/2 inch from it. And then I'm going to take this one and put this at a 1/2 inch from it. And I'm going to try to make this one, to put this one all the way to the top. So you can play around with it and see just about where it needs to go so that it's nice and even. Right? So I know this one is going here. I'm holding it with my hands. And I'm gluing the top part. And I'm gluing it down. And I'm making sure that it's straight on both sides here, that it's straight here. And when I'm happy with it, I press it down. So now it's nice and straight. I'm going to do the same thing with the third one. I'm aligning it on the left first and on the right. Happy with it, press it down. And here we have a waterfall. 1, 2, 3. I should really bring maybe another light. I'm afraid the light here is not wonderful. Usually okay when I'm working with lighter color cardstock. Not so much with the black. All right, let's see if this helps. Oh, we can see much better now, can't we? Okay. Okay, so this is what we have. And if you want, you can add another flap there, but I think this is good enough. I like how this looks for now. So what I want to do now is I want to add a ribbon. So the ribbon will wrap around everything and keep it closed. So I picked this ribbon because it matches my pattern paper. And I want to see that it wraps around comfortably with enough to tie everything together. And I think that's good. So this is the front of my book. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to glue this a little bit here on the back side. Put a little glue. See that it's centered. Okay. And I'm going to put it on the side for a second to dry. This will dry really quickly. Okay, let's turn to our paper. Now I want to pick two images first. I want to pick an image that will go on the back and an image that will go in the front. When you open your book, this is the first thing that you see. Okay? So I have the double-sided pattern paper here. First, I can take this out. We don't need all of these edges. Take this out. Sometimes scrapbooking paper will have this information on the bottom, and we don't need it right now. We're not using it, so I'm taking it out. Okay. So let's see. I have this, and this is the double side. This is the B side. So the A side is the side with the pretty pattern or with images and things like that. The B side is the side where usually you have a background image. When you do mini albums, you're going to use a lot, the B sides a lot. Because sometimes do everything, the pattern is really, really busy. But when you put it against matching background, it makes it look nice. Okay, so these two sheets, one of them has images and one of them have what's called cutouts. Cutouts are, let's say, like little cards or images that you can cut in clean lines around it. They're called cutouts. This is an element page. An element page is elements or images that appear in the collection, but they're sporadic around here so that you can what's called fussy cut around the image and take it out and re-glue it and reapply it somewhere else as embellishments or decoration, or you can do little tags, and there are a lot of uses for them. But basically, the cutting around them is called fussy cutting. To do that, I have a whole a video of a how-to, which I will probably post sometime, how to fussy cut, and there are different techniques to do it. Basically, you take your scissors and you cut the image out. Okay. Another thing that a lot of collections will have is a little packet with images already cut. So those usually called die cuts because they use the die cutting machine to cut the images out. So these already come ready. So you take this out. You have a whole bunch of little images that are already cut out. Okay. Which is another, it saves time and it's fun. If you're doing a project for cards or whatnot, you add those elements to it. Okay. So these are called die cut. All right. I think this is pretty dry already. You see, this is already dry. So we're going to start at one side and go to the other, and then my book will close this way. We'll take this and go like this, and this will be my book. This will be the front because this is where I have my bow, and this will be the back side. So let's pick an image to go here and an image to go on the back side. The image to go in the front is going to be about 5¼ inches high and about 4 inches wide. Let me see, I don't know what I want to do. I can take this pretty floral. I can take this here. This is pretty. Just look at your paper and see what you want to do. Okay. This one has pretty images. I can do the books. I can do this floral, which is pretty. I can do this. It's so hard to choose, but I think I will do this one. And the reason I think I will do this one is because I have interesting image that will be within my 4-inch width and my 5¼ inch, my 5¼ 5¼ inch height. And how do I measure it? I take my ruler and I go from edge to edge. I see how much I have here. I have 5¾ So I want to take a quarter out. I have 5¾ here. It will be actually 5½. I want to show you. From edge to edge, it's 5¾ So I take a 1/4 inch out, that's 5½. Here from edge to edge is 4¼ I take a 1/4 inch out, it's 4. So 4 by 5½. The 4 will go on the top and the 5½ will go here. Four by 5½. That's my 4 by 5½. And it will go right there on top. I think it looks pretty. Oh, and it's perfect. It has that line here exactly where the ribbon is. Oh, pretty, perfect. It'll be right there. That's my top. And over here, I might want to do something to break it up. Maybe I'll do the other side. Let's see what I have on the other side. I have this. I can do the brown. I can do this. I can do something else that will break the image here. But I'm going to leave it for now. Okay, let's apply this one to the top part. So after I cut my pattern paper, what do? I see the white core here. I have a little white core. I don't like it. I have to ink it. Another thing that you can do is distress the edges a little bit because it's like a vintagey feel kind of paper. You can add a little distress and make it look a little bit more vintage. You can do a lot of different things to this piece of paper before you apply. But that's what I want to show you. I want to show you a little distressing. I'm taking scissors, very simple. Hold it close to here and go over it here. And I'm sort of breaking the edge. See the difference? If you tear it, that's still fine. Doesn't matter. I'm distressing the edges. If you're going to do something real vintagey, you can even crinkle it a little bit. But this is just, I call it light distressing. It's just very light distressing. I'm going to take my ink with my dauber. And I'm going to go over it. But I don't really want to do it over this because the dabber is not new anymore. It has little tears in it because paper is pretty sharp, so it tends to eat through the dabber quite easily. Let's just take a piece of paper that I don't need. I'm going to do it over it here. See how it looks like already? So it gives it an edge that's a little bit, makes it look a little bit more vintage. Here we go. So I take this piece and I want to put it right on top. I'm going to use my double side tape because I don't want to put too much of my regular white glue on there. The more white glue I have, the more it can wiggle. So I'm just going to put a couple of tapes on the sides. And one in the middle. You. I'm going to take this out. My little trash can is already full. I do keep a little bucket on my desk for trash. So now the way I place it, you want to place it with a frame around it. So because we cut it at a 1/4 inch less than the actual base that we're putting it on, we can place it at about 1/8 of an inch from the sides. So it'll give you a nice frame around it. I'm holding this up. I'm starting at one corner, making sure it's straight, working my way to the other corner and down to the other side until I'm ready to place it down. You finished? Take your tool and just go over it a little bit. Make sure it stays. Here we go. I have this on top. I'm going to find a paper for here and here and then the rest. You can always take more parts here and add additional elements if you like. Okay. I want to show you how to do how to take with the pattern paper itself, create another interactive element. We don't want too many of the thick cardstock, but this is going to be here already. So let's supposedly we're taking this one. And I want to take this one and cut it at 4 inches by 6. Oh, 6 here. All right. Okay. Here I have a 4 inches by 6. And I want to put this here. Okay. But I don't want anything patterny here. I want the other part there. So what I want to do is I want to cut out a piece. Let's say 1.5 inches. Let's do 1.5 inches because the 1.5 will still leave me a nice pattern here. And the other side part, I'm going to turn it over and use the B side. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing, distressing. And inking. We're going to put this on top. Oh, I want to do actually tape. Right. This on the top. Again, I'm leaving a frame around it. And now I'm going to take the other one, the other piece that I cut out, and I want to put this one on the bottom, but I want to leave an opening here. Maybe I want to create a little tuck pocket there. Okay. So I'm going to just glue the edges. Just glue 3 of the edges. I'm going to leave the opening on top. And I'm going to glue it right there like that. So now if you want to make like a little tag or something, you can actually take and tuck it here. So it's a fun way. You want to add a little note or something. It's really cute. Like, okay, make a little tag. I don't know, let's say you glue a little something, little leftover. I'm just improvising right now with whatever I have on my desk right now. I have a little butterfly from another project that I just did. I can put a little butterfly, let's say. Punch a little hole. I have a couple more butterflies here. Let's just have fun. And I don't know, we can take a little twine. And tie a little knot. With a little bow. can take this. I'm totally improvising right now. But this is a part of the decorating part of your little album, which is a lot of fun. Okay. I'm going to just take the corners out. It's a little tag, and you can take your marker or your pen and write a little message. And pack it in. This is cute. So this can be a front. You can later add embellishment. If you want more embellishment, you can write something here. You know. Okay, so we have these 2 pages all done. And that's it. Right now, what you want to do is you want to take your album and you can decorate it. I'm going to start cutting some papers and I'm going to just place it on the album. The same principle that I've done with the top. If I have anything to say, I'm going to slow the video down and I'm going to insert myself in. But right now, I'm going to just go ahead and move the video forward a little faster, cut paper, decorate it, and finish this album. Okay? Okay. I want to put this here and I want to make sure that I get the right angle. So I put this down here. This is here like that, right? This is the angle here. And it starts right there. I mark where it starts. And this will go right there. Okay. going to turn it around. Let's look what we're doing here. Here, I can do this one in the back. I'll do this one. This one. Okay, I'm going to slow down the video a minute, and I want to concentrate on the waterfall. So when you do the waterfall, it's a lot of real estate here to cover with paper. And we don't want to do too much because we want to leave space for pictures or things like that. So I don't want to cover every single inch from here. I want to cover the front, the two, what do you call it here? Whatever you see here, the edge of the bottom flap. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So 2 strips here and this entire thing. We want to cover the bottom here because this is where we have a lot of pieces glued up. And we want to cover where the hinges meet the base because it just doesn't look nice. So we want a few strips there. On top of that, we can just add strips here and there so we can maybe create little tags, or we can tuck some pictures there or something like that. Okay, so we're going to start with applying, we're going to cut the first pieces here, and I'm doing it from the same exact paper so it will look like a continuation of it. The height, I think it's 5 inches. Let's see, just remember, yeah, it's 5 inches. So the width is 3 3/4, and the height has to be 4 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. Let me see if I was right. I will second guess myself after I cut. That looks about right. That looks about right. Okay. So that's the top part. The bottom two don't have to be as wide. I'm just going to keep it at, let's say, 1 inch or 1.5. Let's do 1.5. So I'm going to do 1.5 and 1.5. Oh, and I forgot the bottom. Let's also, since I'm cutting everything now, let's see the bottom piece. The bottom piece can be here, and that should work. Okay. Yes, I think that should work just fine. Okay. So I have 4 pieces to ink. Okay. Okay, so this is those 3 pieces. I'm arranging it. That's the arrangement. That's the arrangement. This will go on the bottom. Okay, up here. This is gonna top. Again, I'm leaving the frame around it. Okay, so this is the continuation of the pattern. So I'm putting this one here. Yeah, I don't know why I glued the whole thing. I want to make it a pocket. Let me just leave it to dry because I want to make it a pocket. I just want to do 3 sides. Okay, I'll do that one in a minute. And I'm going to cut those strips here. So I have one more, but this is too narrow. Oh, this is okay. It will be okay. So I need 3 pieces that are about 5/8 of an inch. And this is going right over here, right to cover all the hinges. But don't put it on the strip so that they can bend easily. Okay, that was a little tight there. This one too a little tight. I have to trim it just a bit more. Over here. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we need 2 more. I need this one and this one. 6 inches. more. I'm going to tape it all the way around. One in the center. Big blue here. Maybe we'll do something interesting here. And maybe take this remnant from here, make a little pocket there. Just a teeny bit smaller. Okay, so now we're going to just decorate it real quick. Have some here, all sorts of elements here. Cute. I think I like this one. Yep, like that. Very cute. We can put one here and one here. Here. How cute. And this will go here. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, let's just ink the rest of the things. I have some leftovers I don't really need. Okay. And last thing I can show you is we can always cut the corners a little bit, make it look a little more interesting. Cute. Excuse me. Very cute. You can write something here if you want. We can add some tucks here and there. Look how cute this is. Okay. So I can take some of my die cuts. I don't know if I need this. It's too much. Okay. So I left opening here. So if let's say you want to take a photo and put it there, and you can just tuck it under and add it. You can tuck it under here and add the photo under. So you just glue around the edges. And here, you can add a little tuck here. So just add a little bit on the bottom. Put it there. Okay, we're all done. And if you want to add something here, that can also be fun. Let's take a piece of cardstock. We're going to glue it on top of the cardstock after we ink the edges. Let's ink the edges a little bit. Let's glue it. Take a smaller piece. I don't need such a big one. Okay. All right, I'm gonna cut around it with my scissors, but I'm gonna be leaving a little bit of the black border. So now this feels a little bit more sturdy, a little heavier, and I can put it there. Just glue the top. So it's like where you hold it to be open. Okay. Bring it down so you can have a closer look. Okay. Here's our mini album. You can open it up and this go up. Look how pretty, very colorful. There's something here, it's tucked. You can add photos here or a note and you tuck it in. You have a little tag here. You can write a little note. You can put a photo or a card or something. Have a tuck pocket here that you can tuck something in. Have another pocket here that you can tuck something in, and you can write something there. You can add a photo. So this is the first one. And you turn it over to the other side. You can tuck a little something there. You have a pocket to tuck something here. And you can put a photo here under. You have a flap. You can put something there with a little pocket. Flap. Put something here. And another pocket. Another flap. And here you can put a picture. And that's it. Close it up. And tie it up. I don't know how to do the bows nicely. I always have a problem with how to do the bows. Okay, or whatever. Here we go. All right. If you don't want to do a bow, you want to do something a little more manly. Instead of a bow or something like this, you can take like a elastic and tack elastic on there and wrap that around. Okay. You can also put a magnet here instead of a bow, or you can just leave it without nothing. Okay, there are different ways to do the closures. Hopefully I'll do a few more how-to videos, so I'll show you the different techniques and different tricks. Okay? But here we go. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was fun for you. And I will see you in the next class. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.